Hey guys, Charles here, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you a rundown of local SEO for 2017. Now I will admit that this is one of the most over-covered topics in the entire SEO industry, but I do think most people go into way too much detail around this topic and way too overthink it when realistically it's really basic. Most local SEO searches and most local niches aren't exactly the most competitive in the world. They don't have a huge amount of links, they don't have a huge amount of age, generally because the people who are ranking in them don't have exactly the biggest budgets in the world, and a lot of people that you'll go up in competition with that are local SEO agencies themselves generally won't have the foresight that a lot of other SEOs do that aren't doing local SEO. So if you have the ability to kind of get this into a formula and get it down perfectly, then you'll be able to rank this pretty well every single time. So the very first thing that you do when you go into a local SEO SERP, either to rank your own kind of rank and rent site or your own business, or to rank your client site, is competitor analysis. Competition analysis is the default thing that you should be doing anyway when you ever have clients, because it gives you the basic understanding of what it's going to take for you to rank your site. So you actually build the strategy around what your competitors have already built in place. So the first kind of things that you want to look at when you do competition analysis is their site size and depth. Is it a small site? Is it a large site? Generally, if it's a 5-page little micro site, then it's going to be very easy to kind of outrank them with some supporting content. If the site has got supporting content in place, then you want to have a look at how much supporting content you're going to need to outdo their topical relevancy. And then look at the content length of the site, not only on the money page, but on other pages as well that are interlinking back to the money pages. Have a look at what kind of content length your competitors are using so that you can get a better idea of how many words you're going to need to put on your page. Next up is age. If you're starting a brand new site, then it's a good idea to get an age domain, especially if you're going into local SEO SERPs that have got sites that are on 5 to 10 years old. A lot of local SEO SERPs, actually, the only reason sites are ranking there is because they've been around for so long. They don't really have a link profile, etc. So if you can come in with a site that has got equal amounts of age, or a domain, I should say, that has got equal amounts of age, then it should be very easy to kind of outdo your competitors by doing a proper link building campaign, etc., because all they have is age supporting their ranking and no actual links or on-page SEO. As well as finally having a look at the link profile as well. Doing a proper analysis of the link profile of your competitors is a fantastic way to kind of gauge how much investment you're going to need in your links, as well as what kind of link types and how much velocity you're going to actually be doing alongside that. So that will give you an idea of how much budget you're going to need to actually do a link profile to beat, or at the very least match, your competitors. So first of all, when you're actually doing this with your site, you need to get the basics down. Just basic things like optimizing your metadata. Obviously, the meta description doesn't actually count towards anything when you're actually trying to rank a page, but optimizing your meta title to be as relevant as possible is a really good idea. As well as doing more content, obviously, so like I said earlier, trying to outdo your competitors in the amount of content length that you have, not only on your money page, but on the supporting pieces as well. And then if necessary, go for an SSL certificate. A lot of small local companies have started adding SSL just to make sure that they're catching up to Google. In October of this year, which is 2017, Google are going to be noting any site that doesn't have an SSL certificate in place in the SERPs, so it's going to be obviously a detriment to your click-through rate if your site doesn't have an SSL certificate in place already, or just get it in place in the future. Topical SEO, this is what I was talking about, supporting content. These are pieces of content that both link back or are within your URL structure, so that they actually help your page and your topical relevancy and your topical authority quite considerably. Now, for example, if I was a local plumber, then if I was a local plumber in New York, then I could do a blog post, for example, on the different kinds of plumbing systems or the history of plumbing in New York. This would be a supporting piece of content that I could then interlink back to my money page. You can actually use this as a way to build links, such as PBN links, etc., to these supporting pieces of content, which then pass through the internal link to your money page, so that it lessens the risk of your site getting penalised due to the fact that Penguin 4.0 actually only penalises sites on a page-by-page basis. But it just adds that extra bit of topical relevancy, and it generally means that you don't have to spend as much money on link building, because content is obviously a hell of a lot cheaper than it is on link building, and a lot of the time you can have your client or yourself actually write the content yourself to save massive amounts of money. Link building wise, you want to go with manual citations. Now, a lot of people will recommend going and buying like a huge package of 50 to 100 manual citations. I really don't recommend that, and in fact, when I looked at most sites, it was the best sites that were ranking generally only had 4 or 5 citations, but they were very consistent. So that means all the details, such as the phone number, such as the website, etc., are all specifically perfectly matched up on every single citation, and obviously keeping the logins for those mean that if you ever change address, etc., that you can go back and change that citation on that basis. But I do recommend just going for kind of the 4 or 5 biggest ones in your country or region, just because of the fact that doing too many citations doesn't really actually have any benefit aside from the fact that you have a ton more links. But obviously all of those links are going to be duplicate content anyway, so it's not really going to count for much towards that thing. And obviously for my analysis and several other people's analysis in the community, it's not so much how many manual citations, it's how much and how powerful those citations are, mixed in with the fact of how relevant each one is to each other, so that they're all consistent. Social profiles, these are very easy, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Just try and have your client, or if you kind of have a budget for it yourself, just to update this, and every single time you put a new piece of supporting content out, go and share that on your social profiles. It will help with indexing, and it will create some kind of links and some kind of social signals to those pieces of content. And then PBN links if necessary. If you haven't already gotten your site to where it should be with all the supporting content, with all the on-page and the outdoing, etc., then just have a look at what you can kind of do with some PBN links and have a look and shop around. I don't suggest going for anything major, you know, the $20, $30 a month links from Matt Diggity or something. Just going with something from Todd Foster, which is like $75 per link, is probably the best route for you. And with that there, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at Charles_SEO, on Facebook /TheCharlesFloats. Subscribe down below for more, and drop a comment if you have any questions related to this post. I hope you enjoyed it. I've been Charles. Have an awesome day, and peace.